Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have a 3 versus 3 on Tropic Thunder, and I'm going to be using the East German deck that I did a deck video about in the past few weeks. Now, if you'd like to see that video, it's all about the deck and how I built it. Please feel free to look in the description for a link to that video, and you might want to watch that before you watch this one, but either way, that is there if you would like to see it. Otherwise, I'll just explain quickly what my deck is about. Basically, it's just a standard East German deck. We got quite a lot of Motschützen to work with, and that's going to be our main force in this game. We're also going to be making use of the T72s and also the T3485s, as you can see. So in this video, I am going to be joined by Bubblebox and Silver Raptor. Please make sure that you check out Bubblebox's channel in the description below. He helped me with the deck video as well, so much thanks to him. And we decided to play this game in order to show off the decks that we had built. So in order to make this more sort of Eastern bloc, I'm playing East German. We've got Bubblebox playing Polish, and then we've got Silver Raptor playing the Czechoslovakian deck. Now we're playing against Strider, Helljumper 451, and Honest Tram. This is going to be a 40-minute game, and it is Total Destruction, which is a game mode I haven't really played on the channel before, I don't think. Basically, it's the Destruction game mode, but it's Total Destruction. So there is no points limit as such. It's whoever has either the most points at the end of the game, or whoever destroys all of the enemy's CVs in the time limit. Now, in some cases, these games don't have time limits, but in this case we do. So it's not like my normal Conquest games that I cast, it's actually Destruction, which is based on the points of the units you destroy. So it's very different in the way it plays, actually. We still have the capture points, of course, and these represent our reinforcement points, but it doesn't actually have an effect capturing these on the overall outcome of the game. That's all down to how many units you lose throughout the game and how many units you kill. So let's have a quick look at my composition. I'm starting off with 8 T3485s. I'm going to be supporting those with a couple of flat SFL 57-2s. I've got them covered also by the Flacom OSA AKs. Then we have 4 squads of Motschützen, 2 recon squads in SPW-70s, and we also have our command infantry. So the command infantry at the start of the game is going to be heading to Hotel, and then the rest of my troops are going to be attacking towards Echo. Let's quickly switch it to my point of view so you can see my forces as they move out. And over on the left side we got Bubblebox moving to the left side at Golf and is going to be helping pushing into Foxtrot. And we have Silver Raptor capturing India and pushing into Foxtrot as well. So our main tactic was just for me to secure Echo early on, and then we could focus our attempts at Foxtrot and see how far we got. So I'm keeping my Flacom OSA AKs at the front of the convoy here. Very important that I do that, just in case there's any helicopters that want to stop my convoy. Also, if any planes come in and decide to napalm or something like that, then I have a good chance of shooting them down with these OSA AKs. They do have 7 HE power and 50% accuracy, so really, really good at shooting down helicopters and aircraft alike, especially if they are in range. Unfortunately, that's the trouble with the OSA AKs. They do suffer a bit with range. Only 3,150 meters against airplanes, 2,450 meters against helicopters, which isn't too bad, but could be better. This is kind of made up for by their speed, 80 km/h speed off-road, 150 km/h speed on-road. So that kind of makes up for it, but I'm keeping my Flacom OSA AKs back here. Probably should have moved them forwards as soon as I saw all of these helicopters, but I was too busy sorting out my Motschützen for a defense and seeing those Chinooks and Black Hawks going in and out of line of sight. I know that they've landed their troops here. So this has given me an advantage in Echo very early on, and you can see that Silver Raptor here is taking control of Foxtrot as well. The OT-64Cs there actually scoring a kill onto the M2A1 Bradley IFVs. Nice job there. But I've got my moat shooting into position now. My T-34s are sitting in the middle of the town with the flat SFLs ready to fast move over and kill off these Bradleys. And that's what I'm going to do now. I send one of my APCs round the right. That unfortunately gets picked off, so that tells me there's some forces there. But here comes my attack. T-34s, attack moving across the bridge, are going to destroy those Bradleys very easily. And we're also going to be taking on the riflemen as well. You can see the points popping up. That's because it's the destruction game mode that I was talking about. And it's telling me how many points I'm getting for each of these kills. With all this fire support from the flat SFLs and the T-34 AD5s, these riflemen aren't going to last very long, but we do have a bomber coming in. This is an Aardvark, and unfortunately that is going to stop this push in its tracks. My flat SFLs actually survive with one tank, but the rest get destroyed. So a small attack there does end up quite bad. But we did manage to take out all of the Bradleys that were sniping Silver Raptor's APCs on the left side. Bubble Box and Silver Raptor are engaging the UDT SEALs in the town now in order to completely control Foxtrot. And they're doing a reasonably good job at the moment using the Nabiski Bereti. These have 15-man squads and they're shock infantry, so very good for this scenario. Although it could have been better if these Nabiski Bereti were in like groups of 2 rather than groups of 4, because that makes them very big for bombing strikes. However, in this case, because there isn't really enough compounds to spread the men across, keeping them in a group of 4 isn't actually too bad. So you can see Bubble Box and Silver Raptor going to be chasing these infantry in order to kill them off, bumping into some Sachongzu 85 there as well. So again, I'm just reinforcing my position here, getting my flat SFLs into better positions. I've got my T-34 back here defending the road as well. We've got the Special Alf Clara, my recon infantry, in a prime position to spot anything that moves across the open field. Obviously not going to spot anything in the buildings here, but that's going to be up to my Moat Schutzen and SPW-70s soon. So Bubble Box's Promet's coming in handy here, trying to shoot down these Bell 205s before they land. The 23mm autocannons on those going to make short work of those helicopters. A few more kills there for our team. And the Nabiski Bereti going at it with the Sojongzu here. Doing pretty well. I'm bringing up some reinforcements into Echo in order to help me make my push over across into Delta. These Topaz 2 APs actually opening up onto the Hayusam Mistral squads there, going to make short work of them. The Promet's now being hit by artillery from Bravo. Now that artillery has been pretty much on point from the beginning of this game, been really pinning down Bubble Box's infantry squad and actually doing quite a lot of damage to them. You can see a lot of the damage that they've actually taken was probably due to that artillery rather than the infantry engagement. So now you can see I'm revealing the rifleman here. I bring in a MiG-17 PF. That actually hits the command vehicle at about the back of the sector. That was actually a guess, and a very lucky one. And so that puts them at a disadvantage early on and gives me some early points. But with my Moat Schutzen engaging the rifleman here, the rifleman able to engage back with the M60, well, it gives my flat SFLs easy shots onto these riflemen, which is nice. So the way I initiated that engagement was I sent one of these SPW-70s over the bridge, and that made the riflemen open up with their machine gun, and then the Moat Schutzen could engage them and keep them there whilst I use my fire supports to attack the riflemen. Now we have an SDRV-105 moving up the road. That thing can be quite powerful. Only 55 points, 70% accuracy though, does make it an annoyance against APCs in particular. Trying to get rid of the last rifleman squad in this sector here. And now Silver Raptor, with our foothold in Foxtrot, is pushing across into Delta as well in order to crush them here. So using his APCs as heavy fire support, I brought over my flat SFL here as well. I've got my T-34 moving up with this flat SFL just to provide a bit more fire support. I've got my recon infantry moving across the bridge now into this compound to take on anything if there's anything left. But my MiG-17 BF's coming again and going to be wiping out the Delta Force squads that are left in that sector. No anti-air, so I'm really able to take advantage of that. These MiG-17 PFs holding two 500 kilogram bombs, really good for pinpoint strikes on the enemy. And now with my recon not really spotting very much, other than this attack marker here, the one IP Abrams coming across, I am actually now pressing my Motschutzen over to this compound as well. So getting my SPW-70s hopefully into a position where they can fire with their machine guns. My T-34 also moving up the road to help. So trying to use the recon infantry to take on these rifleman squads. The Special Alpha Clara actually are shock infantry themselves, so actually really decent infantry. Now I have my Su-22 M4 coming in. That's going to be taking out the M1 IP Abrams, again taking advantage of the lack of AA. So that's going to get out of there just fine. And with my recon infantry pressing hard across this compound, they've actually moved up the STRV-105 to help clear out my infantry. So I switch out my Motschutzen 90, do have a AP power of 25. Now their range is lacking 525 meters, but that's definitely more than enough to pop that STRV-105, so I take advantage of that. The Humvee CP here that we actually spotted was coming down toward Delta, but it looks like they retreated that after we had secured it. So now with my position in Delta more secure, I'm pushing up these flat SFLs into more aggressive positions again. Now these campfire aircraft, they do have the 1,400 meter versus airplane, so they need to be in a prime position in order to do that, because that range is pretty short. The 1,575 meters against helicopters as well isn't ideal, but again, I've been using them here for ground support. The 1,575 meters against ground units is actually pretty useful. So I've got Flacon gone across the river, going to be hiding in the compound here in order to provide some anti-air in the area. My Mi-8 that was back here, that was actually used to refuel my T-34 85s as they came up, so that they would be more useful as they continued across the map. And at the back of the sector here, you can see we are in a bit of trouble. I just brought in a command unit, and that literally just got sniped. There's been 2 units of Kuschjägers in Juliet, and unfortunately, these really caused us problems throughout the game. It was a really good play by the enemy team. They dropped off a couple of Kuschjäger squads in these forests, and they swooped them across to Juliet, and managed to catch us out. And that really hindered our progress, because so far, you know, we captured Foxtrot, we captured Echo, and we've even pushed into Delta. But now we don't really have the momentum to continue into Bravo and Charlie, because our command unit's been killed in Juliet, and that has put us in a bit of a predicament in the fact that we can't reinforce our troops at the moment, as this is the only reinforcement sector that we owned. So I'm still using my Mi-8 to pick up some more supplies here, but you can see that Silver Raptor is bringing back his T-72 M1K in order to recap Juliet, and then we can bring in some stuff to deal with the Kuschjägers. But in the meantime, there isn't really much we can do up at the front, except from fortify our positions. So a couple of things I could have probably done better is split up these SPWs and probably spread them around the map a bit, use them as recon. At this point though, I think I was more concentrating on the back at Juliet, waiting for the command tank to arrive. I'm also bringing up back the T-34-85s here. I'm pretty good at dealing with infantry en masse because they have the 3 HE power there. And, you know, when there's 3 of them, that 3 HE power, you know, it's going to kill 9 men. So, reasonable amount of damage. Silver Raptor is going to be using an elite Mi-25 with the 12.7mm minigun in order to wipe out these forces if he can. So you can see as soon as he spots them, they get on target and absolutely rips them apart. Mi-25 trying to get on target, but unfortunately spinning around. And with the T-72 now stopped in the sector, I can bring up some T-34-85s to absolutely annihilate the Kustjägers. A Kustjäger squad costs 40 points, and 4 of these T-34s cost 60 points. And you can see just how effective that is at destroying those squads. So a decent investment. I can use these later on as well. Basically bringing them in bulk to take care of the infantry forces. Bubble Box is so pals here. He's brought them in as reinforcement for his front line, but I think we still have some Kustjägers in the area here. So as the Sopels move up towards Hotel, I think he actually loses those. My T-34s are of course still moving up. Silver Raptor repairing his Mi-25 there. Just making sure that's in prime condition so he can move that back to the front line. The Kuller's going to be taken out there by the Kustjäger. Strider targeting that on purpose. The 2 Sopels going down to the Kustjägers, so really paying themselves off there. But my T-34 is now on the case with their machine guns and their main guns. The Kustjägers are going to rout. Forgetting about these T-34s back here and finally moving those up as well. We need to be careful with this T-72 M1K, but I think with Silver Raptor's help we do manage to clear up the Kustjägers in good time. So now with that debacle out the way, we can concentrate once again on our front lines. And we've kind of starved ourselves of resources or reinforcement points. As you can see, we haven't captured India, Foxtrot or Echo at this point in the game. So we don't actually have that many points compared to the enemy. Currently, we're getting the same amount. And if we want to continue to push in this game, then we're going to need more than they have. Now the game really only pays off when you have more. I've got a Su-22 M4 here, coming in with the 2 SAL missiles. This is going to be targeting the STRV-105. It is going to take out that tank, but unfortunately was shot down itself by the enemy AA. So they fixed their initial problem, which was their lack of AA, which allowed us to take over Delta very early in the game. It's lucky for them that one of their players was being very proactive around Juliet and kind of stopped us from capturing these sectors very early on. But either way, so far so good. We have a very good and strong map position. And now we've got to decide what we want to do in the rest of this game. So it's basically, we have 2 options. We attack Bravo, or we attack Charlie. Bravo's where the artillery is here. And that's currently firing at my flat SFL. I'm not entirely sure of spotting this through the game, so let's just quickly change to the neutral perspective and see if these guys can actually see this. Seems they are in line of sight of some sort of recon, possibly this one, the L3304, or even the OH6 here that's hovering above the tree line there. By the way, let's switch it back to my point of view, and you can see that that artillery has forced me to move the flat SFL back into the town, and I can move it to this Mi-8 that has landed here and just resupply that and fix it up. So now I'm just sort of creating a staging platform for my T-34s. That's what this Mi-8 is here for. It was always to refuel these tanks. Because their autonomy is not great, basically it means that I am going to have to refuel them if I want to put them a large distance. Flacom OSA AK also taking shots here from the artillery. Going to be forced to move that back into the town in order to repair it. Don't want to lose that for free. Now at the back up here, Silver Raptor has been moving forwards some recon infantry. And although they have already taken down a few helicopters, they gave away their position, and the many Black Hawks that were previously used to drop off troops into Delta were used to take out that recon squad. All those miniguns collected together, that recon squad really had no chance. It's a bit of a shame it got spotted, but still did a lot of damage for our team. We've got an SPW-70 here coming up with the command infantry to capture Echo. Give us even more reinforcement points for our push. So the game is going to slow down quite significantly whilst we decide exactly what we're going to do and where we're going to place all our forces. But you can see I've already started moving my T-34s over to Foxtrot, and I'm also reinforcing them with more as we decided to make our push into Bravo. So I'm sending my Mi-8 back to refuel here. My SPW-70 has arrived. Unfortunately, I didn't shift unload those. So that took a little bit of time, but I eventually got told by Silver Raptor that that had arrived. So moved it up and unloaded it to capture Echo. I'm even moving my SPW-70s over to stage with my T-34s, as pretty much everything is helpful in this kind of situation. If I can push the SPW-70s forward alongside my T-34s, every time these SPW-70s takes a hit for one of my tanks, that's probably worth it, because the T-34s have a lot more firepower. Of course, the SPW-70s do still cost points. They cost the same amount as a T-34, but they do have the kinetic round. Their machine gun actually pretty powerful. Silver Raptor bringing in an Su-22M4. Those 1,000 kilogram bombs going to be trying to destroy the artillery. Going to get away with it. The enemy anti-air defense not quite good enough. Bubblebox going to be marking the anti-air for me as I bring in my MiG-17 PFs to make the drop. So these planes, they're nothing special. 2 500 kilogram bombs each, no ECM, 750 km/h speed, just great for when the anti-air isn't really much of a problem. You can see my MiG-17s in front already dropping their bombs onto the anti-air positions. I am going to lose 2 of those. One got shot down by the anti-air, and a second got shot down by enemy aircraft, and then the third one goes down to enemy AA as well. Unfortunately, the second time round, there was a lot more AA than I had expected. Initially, the Su-22M4 only got hit by 2 what looked like PVADs, and I thought that would be fine to take out with the bombers since they were marked. But it seems that they had already started bringing up reinforcements, and those really caught me out in that bombing strike. So, an unfortunate loss for me, but a good move by the enemy. So on this right side, I do have this flat SFL here. And that's basically covering anything sneaking down the road. I've got one in this bush here as well. And I've got my Kampfschwimmer. These are my recon to cover the field. And they cover anything coming out of this tree line as well towards my command unit that's capturing hotel. All my T-34s getting into position. At the moment, the enemy can't see it coming. But we're basically staging behind the town in order to make a push across this bridge into Bravo. So Bubble Box bringing up some BM-24Ms. These are artillery with napalm rounds, 244mm napalm rounds, and what they do is just spread flames wherever they hit. They do have quite a large spread. You can see the dispersion is 4,550 meters, and with only 12 rounds, that's quite big dispersion. But if you have enough of them, then that's not an issue. Bubble Box also has his RM70s here. They have 3 AP power and basically are used to destroy armored vehicles. They are much like the Smerch really, but just don't have the excessive AP power. 3 isn't great. Smerches have like 7, I think. So pretty downgraded Smerch, and they still cost 100 points, but still good for when you want to assault a position or you know where enemy targets are. We have some more BM-24Ms coming up from Bubble Box. That makes 5 now. And you can see I've placed all my T-34s ready to fast move in a convoy over to Bravo. So the enemy still can't see this coming, as you can see. But it's definitely there. And I'm waiting for the all clear from Bubble Box in order to attack. You can see the BM-24Ms acquiring their targets alongside the RM70s. I've also got these Flacom OSA AKs ready to help us with any air attacks that will inevitably come. The RM70 is going to go ahead and force the enemy CV to move back. And here comes the push. The T-34s riding blind into enemy defences, but we were hoping that with all this napalm and the RM70s firing away, that we would have made a big enough difference to make the attack easy. So an Mi-8T being pushed up there along with all my T-34s and SPWs. It's got 2AM getting ahead of itself. Peace Pheasants being brought up. Strider bringing up big uns. And these have 450 kilogram bombs. And these are cluster bombs. And just look at that. It's so nasty. The cluster bombs absolutely annihilating my T-34s as they cross the bridge. A very nice strike there from the enemy. Really completely caught me off guard. I didn't really expect them to have cluster munitions, but they definitely did the job, and those 4 1,000 kilogram bombs there finishing off the job nicely does completely stop our push into Bravo. Now my MiG was brought in there to provide some air superiority during that air show, but unfortunately didn't really get many kills and I was forced to evac it. So I've got my SPW-70 here and the T-34s in a bit of a predicament. They're not in a very good position at all in order to push up this hill, but I go for it anyway, as they can't really fall back at this point. So they move forwards, the AH-1T pins them down, whilst we take rocket shots into the back and HGMs into the front. Su-22 M4 Seria, not going to be able to really do much. Fires off one infrared missile against the AH-1T, but then flies out safely. I think the Su-22 M4 there was actually meant to take out one of the STRVs that was defending Bravo. But either way, our push failed. So now we were deciding what we wanted to do next. I originally said in the game that after this happened, we probably should have pushed across in the open. Ideally, if we'd put all the T-34s and staged them in Delta, they may have been spotted. But as we attacked, we definitely would have done a lot better. So I'm bringing in my MiG-29 here to clear the skies as my Su-22 M4Ps come in, take out a couple of PVADs. My MiG-29 there actually kills the enemy AH-1T. The F-16 block here just manages to miss out on killing my MiG, which is great. And, well, Silver Raptor's Cubs fail at hitting any of those shots onto the F-16, so it actually gets away. And now another RM-70 barrage is going to come into the backside of Bravo. We're just trying to pick that off with the artillery. Skirmishes continuing in the center here. Silver Raptors OT-62Bs are going to be probing that. They do have the 82mm recoilless rifles, but against the PRBV there with the ITO missiles, they're not really going to be able to do much until they get close. So an Su-22 M4 brought in by Silver Raptor here. Going to be dropping some bombs onto that fortified position. But with the pips coming up, they're stopped just too late in order to shoot it down. So Silver Raptor just about gets away with that one. But with the command unit now destroyed in Bravo, we've given ourselves a bit more of an advantage. More Kushjägers in the backside forcing us to react. You can see that's why Bubble Box brought in some Nobiski Beretti back here. And I also brought my KHS Mi-24P back in order to help out. So this Viggen flew all the way over my anti-air, straight toward my base. My MiG-29 comes in to shoot it down. Does fire 3-4 missiles at it, but doesn't get the kill. And takes damage for the trouble. That Viggen was certainly something. I don't know how the hell that did that, but that should have been a dead plane. Somehow the enemy managed to get away with that one. But I was determined not really to let it happen again. So reinforcing my anti-air. The flat SFL, basically a Tunguska here, being brought up to Echo in order to now defend that against any aircraft that fly over alongside a Flacom OSA AK. So Silver Raptor's Co-M4 throughout the game really didn't put up a very good performance. The Peace Pheasant there getting out very easily. Remote shoots and picking up a kill as they probe into Delta. And now, with my call that pushing over a bridge was a bad idea, we decided that Charlie would be a good target for attack. And this would be because I would be able to set up my troops behind this compound and they wouldn't be able to be seen. So you can see I'm bringing over some T-72Ms now in order to make that push happen. I also am bringing up a command infantry squad now in order to capture Delta. We probably should have done that a lot sooner, but because of our points being invested in the push on the left side, I didn't have much chance to do that any sooner, really. But all my T-72s coming together, ready for this push, whilst Bubble Box's artillery gets into position. The BM-24Ms here, slowly moving across to help us out. So you can see the amount of resources Bubble Box is actually using up here. This is 3 Mi-6s returning to base to pick up resources that can resupply all this artillery. And these carry 3,700 supply each. And to put that in perspective, an FAB carries 16,000. So these 3 Mi-6s pretty much carry over half what an FOB can hold. And they are pretty much empty from resupplying all this artillery. So now we have 4 RM-70s at our disposal. Bubblebox also has the 5 BM-24Ms as before. And he's spreading them out nicely so that they can't be counter-artilleried in one fell swoop. Bubblebox also bringing up some infantry to support my push into Charlie. This time round, they can see the tanks. Now there's only a couple here, but it gives them a decent idea of what we're going to do next. So I'm consolidating all my tanks here, along with anything else I can spare. That's why I brought up this Mi-24P as well. We've got a couple more tanks on the way and the SPW-70s here with some infantry. And again, just staging for our next push into Charlie. Now, when it comes to destruction games, this is really what generally happens. You can't really make a significant push without planning for it first. Those blocks there actually coming in with their anti-radar missiles, picking off one of my artillery pieces, the Flacon OSA, actually getting away with that quite nicely. Not really a very expensive radar unit being destroyed. It could have always been my flat SFL, the 2S6 one there. I have got the radar turned off on that though, so that wouldn't have been targeted by the F-16. Now, with only 4 minutes left in this game, we're not massively pressured to make this push. But just because we enjoy playing the games out the best we can, we wanted to make this push happen. SE-22M4 there of Silver Raptor is going to get shot down by the enemy air defense. Bubble box marks where the AA came from, so that it can be artied as we attack. So even bringing up some BMP-2s now with their Conkers Sackloss missiles. Great for supporting a push like this because the BMP-2s can actually sit back and fire their HGMs from range while the T-72s push forwards, and then once they've used up their Conkers, missiles can come in and help sweep up infantry with their autocannon. So sneaking up my Mi-24P here, trying to catch out this STRV-103D, which could cause me problems if I leave it there. Kokon missiles not really doing me many favors at the moment. The last missile actually missing. But with the artillery hitting the sector, it's our time to charge. I'm pushing forwards my T-72Ms in order to take over Charlie. So a massive firestorm occurring over Charlie. But my push now coming, the BMP-2s alongside the T-72s there. Trying to get close enough to make a difference. Fortunately, my KPZ is taking side shots from this tree line here. My MiG-29 coming in, shooting down one of the F-16s. The Viggen going down as well, whilst my MiG-29 actually gets away. But my T-72Ms have got really close, but unfortunately they are bumping into the fullscreen Jaegers, and those things have a decent enough AT weapon to cause us problems. And there goes the second of my T-72Ms. The F-15D Eagle comes in and bombs the reinforcements coming across the bridge. A-10 Thunderbolt now joining us. And so many airplanes being brought in once again to stop this push. Those cluster munitions absolutely annihilating Bubble Box's forces as he pushes forwards. I've now got my Moat Schutzen here, drawing out the infantry so that we can use the fire support to wipe them out. Another kill on the right side there, my Su-22 M4P with the MiG-17 there, helping with a bombing strike. Just trying to make this an explosive end to our game. Getting a foothold in Charlie. Completely push them out. It did cost us. It actually put the enemy in the lead at the last second, but turns out to be a draw. So there you have it, guys. A 40-minute destruction game, which actually turned out in the draw. Now, if this was Conquest, we would have won already, but because it wasn't, because it was a destruction game, it was based on points, and as you can see, my kill death was not the best. Silver Raptor did really well, 1,625 kills to 920 losses, whilst I had 1,185 kills to 1,860 losses. I think the majority of that came down to my failed T-34 push, and also a lot of those T-72Ms getting killed at the end, mainly because I kind of neglected them while I was attacking because I was making the bombing strikes and so on. And because they were using an attack move order, they actually drove straight into range of the anti-tank that the infantry were using at the end there. So it was a bit of an issue, but either way, a really, really good game. Strider really carrying his team. Using those Küchenjägers really effectively to disrupt us in the mid-game, because otherwise it would have been really likely that we would have rolled over them. I managed to get a foothold in Delta really early on, which was massive for our team because we were holding 4 3-point sectors, which was a huge income in terms of reinforcements. So we should have really steamrolled that game, but because of the disruption in our backline, we really couldn't make that happen. And it allowed the blue side to really defend their positions well into the late game. So either way, yeah, if you're interested in this deck, I did do a deck video on it. All the deck information will be in the description as usual anyway. But that's all I have for now, guys. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.